Hello and welcome back to 3 ENL Plus Listening MOOC. Improve your listening skills through practice with your instructor, Professor Rania Wahmish from University of Iran 2. Today we're gonna start with the first course entitled Essentials of the Listening Skills. Let's start with the first part, which will be devoted to the listening skills. It's better for you to know that we have 2 ears and 1 tongue so that we would listen more and talk less. Upon completion of this course, you will be able to understand the process of listening, comprehend the ways of approaching listening materials, distinguish between intensive and extensive listening, identify and reflect upon the listening skills, and make out the major tips to improve listening skills and become a better listener. So, what is listening? Listening is the ability to identify and understand what others are saying. This involves understanding a speaker's accent or pronunciation, his grammar and his vocabulary, and grasping his meaning. However, don't confuse between listening and hearing. Listening, what is active, is the process of receiving, interpreting meaning, and responding to verbal and non-verbal messages. Listening is a psychological act. You listen with your mind as well. Listening requires focus and concentrated efforts, both mentally and physically. However, hearing, which is passive, is simply the act of receiving sounds by the ear. Hearing is the physical dimension of listening. You hear with your ear. Hearing then is to hear without thoughtful attention. It occurs most of the time subconsciously to potentially make sense out of sounds. You may hear but not listen. Listening is a process that goes through 6 stages: hearing, attending, understanding, remembering, evaluating, and responding. Among these stages, 5 stages appear to be crucial. Receiving or hearing, whereby you hear sounds, you must hear to listen, but you do not need to listen to hear. Understanding or learning, you figure out the meaning of stimuli, you comprehend thought and emotional tone. Whereas remembering or recalling, you decode words, you categorize and retain information. Evaluating or judging, you interpret the intended message, you think critically about the message, and you reflect upon the speaker's character. While responding or answering, you provide feedback, be it verbally or non-verbally. You use nodding, smiling, etc. You show open posture, and you use back channels as right. You should be aware of the different types of listening materials for a better understanding of the messages that you receive. Authentic materials are produced for native speakers like TV shows, movies, songs, and radio broadcasts. Simplified materials are adapted for language learners. Simplified news, for example, articles and podcasts. However, academic materials are used in academic settings like lectures, academic presentations, and research papers. Conversational materials with natural conversations like podcast, interview, and talk. And finally, you have interactive materials which involve interaction like language learning software, online exercises, and language exchange programs. One strenuous question to be answered would be, do we approach listening materials differently? Audio book, storytelling, audio clips, TV soap, operas, movies and dramas, academic lectures, speeches, podcasts, and any type of music are meant to be materials for listening. Do we approach them differently in terms of listening? Absolutely yes. The way of listening is determined by the purposes of listening. Various purposes determine various forms of listening, because the way we approach a podcast, a short story, an interview, or an academic lecture is completely different due to a change in listening purposes. Let's move on to the different purposes of listening. You may listen to identify, recognize, process sounds, words, and grammatical structures, to acquire information, to get the gist of what is being said, to recognize specific information, to observe non-verbal cues accompanying what is being said, to understand the inferred meaning, and to evaluate and judge the speaker's intentions, and sometimes to emphasize, to show empathy, etc. There are two main purposes of listening: listening for gist and listening for details. Gist is the general information, the main idea or the basic idea, but how to get the gist. You get this gist by identifying first the signal word, then recognizing the repeating word, and by the end you pick up the important information. Here's just an illustrative example to understand how to get the gist. You see in your life, whatever you see in the world will see in you. So you see in life is the signal. Then in your life, which is a repetition of the first part, is the repetition. Then the gist is whatever you see in the world will see in you. Well, let's illustrate the listening for gist by this video. You listen to this short video, then answer the following question. First question is, what is the video's topic? Second question, the main idea of this story is, and you have the choice. You have first, whatever you see in the world will be reflected in you. B, people are similar in their behavior. C, nasty and greedy people represent the majority in this world. Third question, the conclusion that you draw from this story is, the world is a mirror. A, B, with the hope and harmony, people can live in peace. And C, avoid nasty and selfish persons.
Once upon a time, there was a person coming to a new village, relocating, and he was wondering if he would like it there. So he went to a Zen master and asked, "Do you think I will like it in this village? Are the people nice?" The master asked back, "How were the people in the town where you came from?" "They were nasty and greedy. They were angry and lived for cheating and stealing," said the newcomer. "Those are exactly the type of people we have in this village," said the master. A day later, another newcomer to the village visited the master and asked the same question. To which the master asked, "How were the people in the town where you come from?" "They were sweet and lived in harmony. They cared for one another and for the land. They respected each other, and they were seekers of spirit," he replied. "Well, those are exactly the type of people we have in this village," said the master. You see, in life, in your life, whatever you see in the world will see in you. See hope, see good, see love, and the world will see the same in you. But if you only see the nasty and greedy part of people, that is what they will see in you. So be good to the world, and the world will be good to you. Give love to the world, and the world will give love to you.
The second part is listening for details. Listening for details is not similar to the first type. It means listening for the specific information inside the conversation. Now, getting details means that you are able to follow and get deeper to the information when listening. How to get the detail? You listen first carefully, you comprehend the content, and you repeat for several times to train your skill. Secondly, you take notes. You write down the important ideas. Thirdly, do not ignore every single word delivered by the speaker. You have to be very attentive. You give your focus to the details. And the fourth element is to discover the intent behind what the speaker is saying. As an illustration, practice your listening skill by listening to a conversation about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. This is a good way to improve your vocabulary. There are a lot of words that you would find in legal setting. It also helps you to improve your comprehension, your pronunciation, and expand your vocabulary. So you listen carefully to this video and then answer the following question. The title of the video is Johnny Depp Trial Shocker. FMR TMZ producer implies Amber Heard leaked Depp.
Hello?
Would you please state your full name for the record?
Morgan Cliff Tremaine.
And what do you do for a living?
I produce esports events and design video games.
And in 2016, what did you do for a living?
I worked as the field assignment manager at TMZ.
What is TMZ?
TMZ is an entertainment news website and television show.
And what were your responsibilities as a field assignment manager for TMZ?
I was the go-between the news desk in the office and the reporters in the field, which you might know as paparazzi.
Approximately how many paparazzis were you in charge of?
At the time, it was about 20 in LA, a handful, maybe 3 in New York, and then 1 in DC.
And what were your responsibilities specifically as to the paparazzi?
It would be to dispatch paparazzi to various locations based on tips or just direction dictated by having a list of sort of hot spots where celebrities would be.
And how were those tips received?
They were received either through tips that we received through our tip line or directly through news producers in the office.
And were tips frequently received directly from sources?
Very often the case, yeah.
And who were the type of sources that TMZ received tips from?
They would receive tips from, oftentimes it would be publicists, managers, agents, or B-list celebrities.
Lawyers?
And lawyers, definitely.
How are tips verified?
Tips are verified by an extensive process. If they come in through our tip line, we have to verify who sent it, that the source is truthful, and so they have to add their contact information, which is a field in that on that website for like name, phone number, things like that.
And how long did that process typically take?
If we receive a tip through the tip line, it could take a while because that would need to be, if it was a tip, we would need to verify it. If it was media, such as photos or videos, that would need to be extensively verified to ensure that the person sending it is the copyright holder and that we would have the legal ability to air it and distribute it.
And while working for TMZ, were you involved in any assignments related to Ms. Heard?
I was.
What was the first time you recall working on an assignment related to Ms. Heard?
I believe it was May 27th, 2016.
And what was your role in that assignment?
For that, Ms. Heard was filing a restraining order at a courthouse in downtown Los Angeles. So I dispatched camera people to that location.
Under what circumstances would you normally send paparazzi to a courthouse?
Only if we had been informed prior. It's not by any means a celebrity hotspot. We would only ever send people there if we had been tipped off that something was occurring and there was somebody present there.
The first question is, in 2016, Morgan Cliff Tremaine worked as video games designer, the field assignment manager at TMZ, paparazzi. The second question is, TMZ is an entertainment news website and television or a television see a news website. The fourth question, reporters in the field at TMZ are known as secret agents, photojournalists, or journalists. 5. Tremaine was in charge of 20 paparazzi, 21 paparazzi, or 23 paparazzi. The sixth question, as a field manager at TMZ, Tremaine's role was to dispatch paparazzis to different locations based on tips, B, coordinate between paparazzis, or to collect tips from different sources. Seventh question, the sources that TMZ received tips from are A, press agents, B, celebrities, C, paparazzis, or lawyers in G. Thank you for your attention. We have finished this sequence. See you in the next sequence.